Well, hello. I'm going to have a look today at a particular tool which I use, which is it's actually a very useful tool for DCC model railways. Now, and it's not a very well-known one, I don't think. It's a little bit curious because it's a fantastic tool, which I'm going to try and demonstrate. So I've brought you initially here to the website for the product. This is the UK based website. They do have a US based one, and this is no way affiliated or anything. This is just a happy customer demonstrating a great product, really, because this really makes programming DCC locomotives so much easier rather than playing about with CV values, keying in 1 2 3 4 program, 1 2 3 4 program, etc. So I'm just really going to show you what is available quickly before I go into the meat and gravy of the product itself. So I've just sort of scrolled down here. So the initial product, the one I have, in fact, is the Sprog II V3. Now this is Sprog II V4, I think it is now, but it's much the same product. Mine's long since discontinued, but yeah, as you can see, the newer versions are actually available. Now I will recommend also getting the plug, because that will give out the correct 12-volt supply along with the right amps, because believe me, I've blown a few trips by putting too much volts through it because I'm an idiot. So yeah, just going into the application. So we'll going back to the main page now. So we have, they do a whole host of programmers. In this case, that was the page which I think I've just shown you with the, they do Pi based systems as well as the actual adapter units. But I will go into the physical unit itself very shortly. So this is actually quite a cheap way into DCC control as well. So if you've got an old laptop sitting about, you can actually use it as a control method. Because the other key thing is there is actually an app for your phone which you can use to talk through your Wi-Fi. If you set up a server on your machine which is connected to the Sprog, you can use it as your phone as a remote command system, as well as this really in-depth programming. So if we just sort of have a quick scan through, so we have the actual product pages, and if we go into when you order one, if you decide to order one, please buy a power supply as well. You would just be doing yourself all the world of favors. So there is a few other things you need to do. So I think their support is actually quite good as well. So they are very good at updating the software. It's fairly frequently updated. So what I need to do is get the drivers. So we've got the drivers there, which is, for my case, it's Sprog II V3. Your mileage may vary on the actual drivers you require. And the second application you need, you don't necessarily need it. I think there is other similar applications, but this is really a fantastic one, is a Jmri. So if I just do a search for Jmri, Java Model Railroad Interface, yeah, and you would want to get the well, in this case it's the 4.20 production release, so you've got Linux, Windows and OS X versions. This is actually a multi-platform system. It's fantastic. As long as your system runs Java, I think it'll pretty much run this application, because it is Java based. So yeah, and you could really get into the nuts and bolts of the whole system. So yeah, that is just a quick overview of the website and what the products are available. Honestly, go on to the Sprog DCC website and just have a look, and if there's actually some, even if you have a DCC control and an alternative programmer, it's actually really good to have it so you've got a visual programming method. So to change things like acceleration speed, it's simply a case of changing an option on the control panel. It's really easy, and you just save it. Programs a whole load of things. You can queue a whole load of programming changes, and yeah, simply just makes the idea of programming a loco so much easier. And it doesn't matter on the scale either, so long as it can read the actual chip. There is a database of compatible decoders which comes with it, which does get updated as further releases come out. So I'm going to just get the camera out now and go and quickly show you the hardware and show you exactly what I'm going to set up. I shall be back very shortly. Okay, so I'm at the board of doom and excitement, and just going to quickly show you how you hook this thing up. So first of all, let's have a look at the actual box itself. Now, excuse this for looking a little bit old. I've had this quite a number of years. It's quite a basic piece of kit, really. I've never opened this before because I've not needed to, but yeah, plastic box, socket, USB socket. Yeah, that is USB. Yeah, it's fairly light as well, and I mean it's quite small, so yeah, well, let's have a think. This is one of my well-known glue brands, and yeah, it's about the same size as the bottle of that. So yeah, so first of all you have this part, and secondly you have the data cable. Now this is any USB to USB type. Is it type A? I cannot remember the actual name of that socket, but it's old. It's quite an old designation. I'd imagine that the newer versions of this have much more updated hardware, but the same concept really. So that would obviously connects into there. Now this bit obviously connects into the PC. So I'll just connect that now. I don't know why I bothered connecting that, but anyway, yeah. So that's the first part. I'll just put that to the side for now, because this next part needs a little bit of it needs more pairs of hands, because it's the power supply. So you've got the plug. Now this is a UK plug. They obviously do this with an American plug, and you can obviously put it into an adapter for any so is this so 100 to 240 volts, 50 and 60 hertz. So yeah, this with an adapter, this would work on an American power supply as well, or you get the American adapter, whichever way it goes. So yeah, piece of cable, which you get this plug here. Now this has the two power leads going in, and the second part of this, which I'll just have to open these up a little bit because this is where you that's where you just sort of loosen that up. I was trying to think what I was saying there. Anyone would think I'm scripted, I'm not. So plug your two ends for your cable into here, like so. Tighten that up, make sure that's nice and secure. If you can hear a whirring, it's my PC, it's quite loud. To tighten that one as well, so we've got the two cables which are really badly matched up. I've probably taken my track end actually and put it in there, but it doesn't actually matter. So yeah, so you've got the two feeds for the power, which will go into the Sprog, like so, and then you've got the two outputs which go to the track. So I am then just going to grab my next piece of kit, for which I use for programming, in this case 00 gauge, but it will work on any equivalent N gauge, O gauge, whatever takes a chip really, to which, while I'm speaking of that and the chip sizes, you can get boosters for the power. So this I think this puts out 1.5 amps, which is probably enough to control 3 or 4 00 gauge locos, and I've had it controlling a couple of O gauge ones as well. But yeah, so the next thing, plug the cables into your rolling road. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away, finish plugging this in, reset up the camera and set up a loco, and I'm also going to go back to the PC and run the software. So back in 2 shakes. Okay, so we are back and I have got all this connected up. So the first thing I need to do, ignore Panel Pro for the moment, I'm not actually sure what that is, but let's run DecoderPro. Now this is the first thing which you'll come across. It's USB, I plug it into whatever USB port's available. So the first thing I need to do, edit the connections. So I believe this is plugged into COM3 at the moment. Your mileage may vary. So save, it will close, reopen. Ooh, okay. Okay. That's an unfamiliar message. So, okay, so let me just see if this is now working. It looks like it. So, okay, so you'll see here there is a whole load of locos which I've already set up, but the loco on the track, it hasn't been. There is my other Flying Scotsman here and a couple of my other locos. As you can see, this is actually, if you know these chips a little bit, that's an N-gauge chip. That's an N-gauge loco, and that's an N-gauge loco. That's one of my O-gauge ones. So the DP2X is quite a chunky chip, as is that one, as it's got 6 functions rather than the regular 4. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to add the loco. So new loco. Okay, so let's try this. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work straight away, so I might have to cut and go back and do it again. So read MFG, and that should actually pick up the loco which is on the rolling road, and correctly it has picked up the TTS chip. I've fitted this loco with a TTS 40 quid, and it's actually quite remarkable what they've managed to do. And loco address, that was already pre-programmed, so that is loco address 103, and I'm going to save the roster ID as 60103. That's just how I prefer to do things. And I think I am going to enable the DC as well. So as I've made a change, it's highlighted that there's changes to make, and we write, and it will make the loco do a sort of a judder. Okay, and we save. And you'll now see, if we just expand that, there is now a loco added to this roster. So let's first of all have a bit of fun. So I'm going to load up the throttle. Okay, and this will look quite familiar really, because this is this essentially replicates your DCC controller. So power on, and let's put the sound on. And we can do such other things like that and that. Okay, and if we just move the throttle up, she should start moving forward, but no, you can see there is a slight problem in that it is programmed in the reverse. So we can fix that. So let's bring her to a stop, and let's turn the sound off and cut the power. And okay, so we're going to close that down. So we need to program this now. So if we go into the programmer, this brings up all of the options. Now, different decoders have different levels of options. So my ESU lock sound decoder actually has lots and loads of tabs of all various different things. Most of them you really won't touch, but you can do a lot with this. Okay, so we can set some basics. So we can, this is the roster information, so we've already set that up. So let's have a quick look at the basic. So we did this initially when we set up, but we can change this now, and you can do the extended addresses. But you notice that when I had it in a forward, it was going the other way. So you can see that there's now changes to be written. So let's just write we'll write the full sheet, so that will rewrite everything that is on this sheet. Okay, so let's go back, let's save and close, and load up the throttle again. Okay, sound on, and you'll notice that it is in forward. Let's take that up, and she is now running forward. So okay, this is curious as it's actually picked up the various functions now. So we can do, let's do the whistle. Okay, I'm going to expand that window actually, see if we can see any more controls. No. Okay, no, that'll have to do, that's fine. Okay, so let's bring her back down to idle and power her off again. Okay, so I'm just going to have, that's a really quick introduction into how you can actually program this really easily and very quickly. But there is other options you can do. So you have the motor control, so I can set the acceleration and deceleration. Because this has been set on a sound chip and I've not done this for like the lock sound and things, I tend to leave that as is because that's how it's been programmed. Okay, so so let's have a look. So I'm just going to preferences roster programmer. Okay. I just need to make a quick change to that. So show empty tabs. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Let's go back to the programmer. So we have the okay. I've got the feeling this is actually more to do with it being a TTS chip actually, because they're quite limited in what you can do with the programming. But we will we'll just have a quick look at some of the other options. So one of the things I found really difficult to find is the volume level, because what I found when they come in, the volume is set really high, which I find a little bit unrealistic. So we have here all the various different volumes, so they're all set to be exactly the same, but this is the overall volume. So let's take this down to 1. Okay, and let's write the full sheet. So let's write all of these, and we'll see. And so that's been programmed. You can just move that to the side there and go to the throttle, power it on, and whistle. I think the volume has been slightly decreased, but it's not hugely noticeable if I'm honest. So let's get rid of that. And we can, yeah, so there's much more advanced controls, and I think you can use this to set sequences, but I've not really got into that. And there is, if you are into that sort of thing, if we just close that and go into, you can actually send individual commands. So okay, so let's have a little run with this. When we go into the throttle, power on, so let's turn the sound on. Okay, we'll get the call in the engine, and we will also, let's turn it off, and now obviously you've got the light function as well, but we can leave that. Cylinder cocks. Okay, and let's get her moving. In forward gear. Okay, and yeah, so we have that, and let's bring it right up to speed now. So Okay. And let's just coaster to a halt. Okay. And let's just let's just give her a signing off, and let's just shut her down. Okay, and close that off. So yeah, that is really a quick overview on what this tool can do. I don't think it's as well known or as appreciated as it should be, and I know there are similar tools from other manufacturers which you can interface with the PC, but this is actually quite a cheap alternative. I mean, I used to use my PC as my DCC controller until I bought a separate unit, but I still use this to do the more complex programming because it is just so easy to put a loco on the rolling road and then run it through this, write everything I need to do. And the great thing is I actually have a list of the addresses for each of the locos, so if I really wanted to I could print this out and I've got a quick rundown of each of the addresses. It's really that simple. So yeah, there's so much you could do with this. I've barely scratched the surface. As new decoders come out, they do add them. It is actually open source as well, so it is getting more and more developed, and you can look, for example, if we go to add a new loco, you can see just how many decoders are covered. I mean, let's have a look at Hornby's section. So you've got the Sapphire, their standard decoders, and so far all of these TTS chips, but you can create them as well. You can actually edit them, create them, and get it working for your device as long as it meets the Jmri standard. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this introduction into the Sprog programmer and the Jmri software. It's a really useful tool, and I can't recommend it highly enough, especially for such a cheap price. Just have a PC nearby and connect it and you're all good to go. Especially with a rolling road, it's good for programming and giving it a bit of a run-in when you buy something. So yeah, thank you very much for listening and have a pleasant evening.